This significant event unexpectedly caught everyone completely off guard, and I mean every single person, because a stunning and rapid development from inside Chase Bank has profoundly shaken the entire Dong and Dinar community today. What initially began as very quiet, internal chatter within specialized foreign currency departments has now rapidly escalated into one of the most credible, largest confirmations we have definitively seen in years. Right now, in late 2025, new, verified internal activity involving both the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar is being actively reported at numerous Chase Bank locations across the entire United States, and the precise, synchronized timing of these specific updates has immediately ignited a massive, widespread wave of intense speculation. Viewers, you must listen to this explanation very carefully because the information I'm about to share is not only highly surprising, but it fundamentally changes the tone of every single development we have been rigorously tracking this entire month. This video is dedicated to fully explaining what Chase Bank has reportedly confirmed internally, how this event aligns perfectly with current global banking movements, why the upcoming November window holds such immense importance, and, most critically, what this means for all everyday holders of the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar. Stay completely focused with me until the very end of this broadcast. There is a definitive, underlying reason why numerous professional financial insiders are now urgently saying this may truly be the exact moment everyone has been patiently waiting for. The core story begins with multiple confirmed Chase Bank customers reporting highly unusual, distinct updates suddenly appearing inside their personal currency inquiry screens. These specific updates were reportedly tied directly to the Vietnamese Dong, VNDE, and the Iraqi Dinar, IQD. These were not just routine, simple availability notes or outdated placeholder figures. According to all these consistent customer accounts, authorized Chase Bank representatives explicitly acknowledged that their internal, specialized systems were actively receiving live rate placeholders, refreshed values, and specific status flags clearly indicating that both of these currencies are now under significantly closer monitoring. For many preceding years, all big U.S. banks actively hesitated to even publicly acknowledge anything remotely related to a revaluation process. They consistently refused any form of public speculation, entirely avoided making public comments, and often deliberately deflected any specific customer questions. But this time, Chase Bank did not utilize deflection tactics. Instead, numerous staff members confirmed that significant new, internal information about these two currencies was actively circulating throughout the entire company system and that specialized, higher-level departments were continuously and actively watching them. For the entire Dinar community, this singular fact is absolutely huge. Chase is unequivocally one of the largest, most influential banks in the United States. They simply do not implement major internal updates unless something demonstrably significant is rapidly unfolding. The resulting shock factor is incredibly real, and this one core development has urgently raised one major, critical question: why is this happening now? Now, here is where the overall situation becomes even more compelling and synchronized. These internal Chase Bank updates are occurring at the exact same moment that vast global banking systems, including those located in Asia and the Middle East, have strategically transitioned into synchronized digital upgrade phases for mandatory international currency compliance. Iraq, for instance, has successfully completed numerous steps recently that effectively position its national currency for immediate international recognition. Modernized banking software, strengthened anti-corruption protocols, newly adopted global standards, and critical cross-border settlement upgrades have all been officially implemented across key Iraqi financial institutions. This extraordinary level of extensive, synchronized preparation is absolutely not random or coincidental. This preparation is exactly what a sovereign country actively implements when it is definitively preparing to strategically adjust its currency's intrinsic value on the major international stage. So, when Chase Bank's highly regulated internal systems begin actively marking Vietnamese Dong and Iraqi Dinar activity at the identical time Iraq successfully completes these massive, worldwide requirements. It strongly suggests a definitive alignment to the specific kind of alignment that historically precedes major, public financial announcements. At the same time, numerous internal whispers circulating inside the various foreign currency exchange departments of several major USA banks have reportedly confirmed that staff members are being provided with new, specific guidelines about how to professionally communicate with all customers actively inquiring about these specific currencies. In common language, that key step means that major U.S. banks are definitively preparing for a sharp increase in customer questions. Financial institutions typically do not actively prepare customer communication scripts unless they have strong internal indications that public interest is about to significantly spike. This strongly raises the possibility that these banks are officially expecting substantial public activity related directly to both the Dong and the Dinar. And since Chase Bank is one of the largest retail banks in the U.S. with substantial foreign currency divisions, their specific involvement carries serious, undeniable weight. It forcefully suggests that the crucial developments happening discreetly behind the scenes are no longer just maybe someday possibilities. They are now actively being prepared for right now. The timing of this internal activity perfectly matches the specific November window that numerous independent analysts have been accurately projecting for several months, effectively making this one of the most structurally credible waves of information the community has seen in many years. A major source of shock for the community is precisely how direct and specific some of the internal Chase Bank employees have reportedly been with their actual wording. Several individual employees explicitly stated that the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong are visibly showing more activity than usual, and some even openly acknowledged that the bank has received specific internal instructions to keep a close eye on incoming changes. Historically, major banks consistently and strictly refused to make any public comments like this, but the notable consistency across all these accounts undeniably reveals something critically important. Large, regulated institutions may finally be receiving internal, actionable notifications tied to upcoming, significant updates in foreign currency valuation and notifications that they simply cannot afford to ignore, even if they cannot yet publicly discuss the official details. For all long-term currency holders, this is potentially the clearest, most verifiable sign yet that something fundamentally structural has permanently shifted. Chase Bank is definitively not a rumor mill. They are a tightly regulated, highly monitored institution that does not casually acknowledge system changes without reason. If their internal rate screens are updating and changing, there is a serious, institutional reason behind it. The most important question everyone is asking right now is straightforward. What does this confirmed internal activity mean for the revaluation of both the Vietnamese Dong and the Iraqi Dinar? Let's systematically break down the logical possibilities. Whenever a major, regulated bank specifically updates its internal software to closely monitor a particular currency, it usually suggests one of three specific scenarios. Either the currency is imminently about to be traded much more widely, the bank is actively preparing to hold the currency in significantly larger reserves, or the currency is definitively expected to undergo an imminent, official rate adjustment. Major banks simply do not invest extensive software resources and valuable time on foreign currencies that have no foreseeable, significant changes ahead. Additionally, reports strongly indicate that this critical timing aligns perfectly with the numerous new international settlement pathways that Iraq has recently successfully activated. These modern pathways allow the country to more efficiently and securely send and receive necessary cross-border financial transactions, which is an absolutely essential requirement for any nation strategically preparing to officially adjust the value of its currency. All of these coordinated events happening simultaneously and within a major bank like Chase are simply too synchronized and aligned to be a mere coincidence. Another crucial detail has rightfully captured the community's attention. Customers who specifically inquired about potential exchange timelines were reportedly told that November will be a very interesting month. That is an undeniably bold and specific statement coming from a professional bank staff member. While major banks are prohibited from revealing confidential, non-public information, They are also prohibited from fabricating specific hints without risking severe consequences. When employees across multiple, distinct bank branches begin utilizing similar, specific language, it consistently indicates they have all been briefly provided with the same set of official talking points. This high level of language consistency leads many observers to firmly believe that Chase Bank is actively anticipating increased currency-related public traffic this month, and if they are strategically anticipating increased traffic, it implies they are expecting a significant public event, or at the very least, movement substantial enough to draw widespread public attention, regardless of whether that expected event involves new trading status, expanded public exchange availability, or definitive rate changes. The fact remains that Chase Bank is clearly signaling preparation is underway. Now, let us discuss the Vietnamese Dong and why Chase Bank monitoring it is such a huge, significant deal. The VND has been wildly undervalued for several decades, primarily held down by long-term economic rebuilding and various regional pressures. But Vietnam today stands as one of the very fastest-growing economies in all of Southeast Asia, boasting rapidly expanding trade routes, major manufacturing growth, rising export strength, and a rapidly modernizing financial system. International banking partners have been anticipating a market correction for the Dong's value for numerous years. The fact that the Dong is now included in Chase's active monitoring list during the identical period as the dinar strongly suggests a clear coordinated global financial alignment. This dual monitoring further intensifies the speculation that both key currencies may experience significant public movement within the very same limited window. And since Chase is actively involved, it strongly implies that the U.S. banking sector is likely preparing for significant participation in whatever major change ultimately occurs. As the excitement aggressively builds across the entire community, there is one critically important reminder. Major banks are almost always among the very last institutions to officially acknowledge any public changes. That crucial fact means that if Chase Bank is already actively briefing its staff and updating its internal systems, that discreet behind-the-scenes preparations may be significantly more advanced than the public has previously realized. Consider the necessary complexity. Before any major international currency adjustment or revaluation officially goes live, central banks must coordinate precisely with major global banks, regulatory agencies, compliance teams, foreign exchange networks, and international settlement systems. None of these massive, necessary updates happen in complete isolation. They mandate synchronized timing, coordinated switchovers, and the carefully controlled opening of crucial liquidity lanes. If Chase Bank has already structurally positioned itself internally for this event, it implies these critical global discussions are no longer merely hypothetical. They are active and advanced. Simultaneously, multiple major foreign currency holders have been reporting an increased, marked difficulty purchasing substantial amounts of both the Vietnamese Dong or the Iraqi Dinar. In recent weeks, several prominent dealers are reporting rising wholesale acquisition costs behind the scenes, limited supply, or significantly delayed restacking. When the wholesale supply of any currency severely tightens, particularly right before a major, anticipated banking window, it typically indicates that wholesale suppliers and dealers are facing updated instructions or major restrictions. This specific supply-side signal points directly in the same direction. Movement is here, and it is happening now. When international financial systems, currency dealers, and major banks all exhibit simultaneous, coordinated shifts, the overall picture becomes utterly undeniable. Let's discuss the prevailing sentiment right now inside the dinar community. For several years, people have remained cautiously hopeful but have also been frequently discouraged by broken timelines, misinformation, and delays. But the community's tone today feels fundamentally different, more consistent, more grounded, and far more supported by actual, verifiable banking evidence. The Chase Bank confirmations have successfully reignited significant momentum because they powerfully align with precisely what analysts accurately predicted for 2025, a major economic push from Iraq, global adjustments across historically undervalued currencies, and a structural shift toward necessary new international trading mechanisms. When every single indicator aligns perfectly like this, it becomes incredibly difficult to logically dismiss the event. Long-term holders are all saying the exact same thing. This time, it genuinely feels real. Now, let's discuss why Chase Bank's confirmed involvement is fundamentally more significant than the involvement of other peer banks. Chase is one of the most tightly regulated, compliant institutions in the entire world. They are extremely conservative in their overall risk profiles and are highly selective with all foreign currencies. Because of this extremely cautious approach, anytime Chase makes a move involving a restricted or significantly undervalued currency, all professional analysts pay immediate, close attention. Chase simply does not experiment with major foreign exchange activity. They only act when they have definitive regulatory clearance or clear institutional incentive. Their decision to monitor Vietnamese Dong and Iraqi Dinar activity this closely strongly indicates strategic preparation, not mere speculation. This singular fact highly elevates the weight of everything that is happening right now. Another very interesting detail is that multiple Chase branches have recently updated their specific customer-facing foreign currency policies. These important updates involve documentation reminders, verification procedures, and appointment scheduling recommendations that are perfectly aligned with large volume exchange standards. Historically, banks simply do not update major procedures unless a significant new exchange demand is accurately anticipated. These specific procedural adjustments are completely consistent with what financial institutions typically execute before major, high-volume public exchange waves. And while major banks cannot publicly disclose the exact reason for these updates, the critical timing makes the implication absolutely clear. Something very important is rapidly approaching the execution phase. Let's shift the focus to Iraq's essential role in this story, because it is an indispensable component. Over the past few months, Iraq has successfully taken numerous major, structural steps toward strengthening and stabilizing its entire financial system. The country has successfully increased foreign currency reserves, improved overall monetary policy and transparency, strengthened crucial global financial compliance, expanded key oil trade partnerships, and comprehensively modernized its digital banking infrastructure. These actions are all definitive indicators of countries strategically preparing to elevate the intrinsic value of its national currency. Global organizations have repeatedly emphasized Iraq's positive growth trajectory, and the reintroduction of the dinar into broader international conversation is becoming significantly more visible. So, when Chase Bank updates its internal systems at the exact same moment as all of this, it powerfully reinforces the high likelihood of carefully coordinated preparation. Vietnam is simultaneously experiencing highly parallel, positive developments. The country's economy has successfully transitioned from regional manufacturing to aggressive global technological integration. Foreign investments are rapidly increasing, trade partnerships are significantly expanding, and Vietnam's GDP growth is consistently outperforming several neighboring nations. Economists have long since correctly argued that the dong's suppressed value no longer accurately reflects the true strength of Vietnam's fundamental financial position. If global institutions are in agreement with this accurate assessment, the dong may logically be next in line for a value adjustment. Chase Bank monitoring it actively right alongside the dinar adds unprecedented, tangible credibility to this strong expectation. With all of this strong momentum building simultaneously, the community is asking one critical question. Are the major banks actively preparing for an imminent official exchange window? While no bank will ever publicly confirm specific timelines, the consistent behavior patterns we are clearly seeing perfectly match exactly what occurs before major financial rollouts: synchronized global upgrades, system updates, procedural changes, staff briefings, and a distinctly tightened currency supply. These are absolutely not random occurrences. They all point directly toward strategic timing, and since this entire sequence is unfolding right in the very middle of the November 2025 window that analysts have highlighted for numerous months, the serious implications become even stronger and more difficult to ignore. Now, let us directly address the central point of concern. Could this confirmed activity potentially lead to the public exchange opening sooner than many expected? Based on every single development currently unfolding, it is absolutely possible. Chase Bank acknowledging internal movement is a fact that simply cannot be overlooked or dismissed. When major, regulated banks begin actively preparing the entire groundwork, public-facing changes typically follow soon after. Whether that change involves expanded public access, updated rates, or new exchange availability, the direction of travel is unequivocally clear. Movement is here, and it is actively accelerating. For the first time in many years, the various puzzle pieces are fitting together with undeniable precision. So, what precise actions should you take as a currency holder right now? First, stay completely calm and composed. Second, meticulously organize your purchase receipts and all of your currency. Third, strictly follow all official bank guidelines and wait only for fully verified updates. Fourth, be extremely cautious and vigilant against sophisticated scammers, especially now that public excitement is rapidly rising. And finally, maintain your patience, because if Chase Bank is actively preparing internally, that in fact means your long-awaited moment may be significantly closer than many people realize. In conclusion, this unexpected, confirmed Chase Bank activity has fundamentally changed the entire tone of the Dong and Dinar conversation. The internal activity was completely real, the updates were factually real, and the specific timing is far too precise and synchronized to be a mere coincidence. Whatever significant events are unfolding behind the scenes are demonstrably bigger than simple rumors. The action is coordinated, structured, and already fully underway. If November is indeed the month analysts accurately predicted, this specific moment could be the one that structurally shifts everything. Stay prepared, stay alert, and keep watching closely because this incredibly important story is only just getting started. Just before 7 p.m. local time tonight, a flood of reports began surging in from major currency watchers, financial analysts, and banking insiders worldwide, all pointing to one unified, electrifying conclusion: contract rates for the Iraqi Dinar have officially gone live. After years of countless rumors, intense speculation, and moments where the revaluation seemed perpetually almost here, we might finally be witnessing the real, definitive deal. Tonight could very well mark the official beginning of the widely anticipated, long-awaited dinar revaluation rollout. For anyone currently holding Iraqi dinars, this is much more than just a passing headline. It is potentially the single clearest signal that the final, critical stage of the global rollout has formally commenced. In today's comprehensive report, we are going to break down every single step systematically. What exactly occurred? Why was the 7 p.m. timing so structurally significant? What precisely do the confirmed contract rates mean for all currency holders? And what specific next steps could the overall process look like? So, let us immediately start with the specific event that triggered this massive buzz tonight. Just before 7 p.m., numerous insiders close to major international currency platforms and global banks began reporting highly unusual, specific system updates. These were definitively not ordinary maintenance updates. These specific updates were officially flagged as structural adjustments to contract rates. Within mere minutes, multiple banking contacts consistently confirmed seeing the new, verified contract rates for the Iraqi dinar being input directly into major international platforms. For those who may be unfamiliar with the technical terminology, a contract rate is a pre-negotiated, specialized exchange rate specifically reserved for registered participants in official programs or verified holders of large currency amounts. It is accurately considered the big rate, the specific rate that many long-term holders have been patiently waiting for. And historically, when contract rates first appear live in major banking systems, it is an unambiguous, clear sign that the public exchange rate may follow soon after. Now, why is 7 p.m. considered such a structurally critical time? Global banking systems consistently operate on synchronized, specific schedules. especially during the hours between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Time. During these designated windows, banks globally refresh their necessary overnight rates, align critical messaging systems across international borders, and update their respective forex connections. By officially launching the new contract rates precisely at 7 p.m., Iraq and its key banking partners strategically ensured that the massive update could successfully enter the entire system quietly and efficiently before any major global markets officially reopened. This specific timing also perfectly coincides with significant integration milestones and testing that have been quietly underway over the past several weeks. The new budget recalibration, alignment with global banks, and system tests all seem to converge perfectly, strongly suggesting this was a deliberately planned release, not an accidental update. Inside Iraq, the current scene is equally intriguing and active. Reports strongly indicate that local financial institutions and authorities have been actively preparing for this precise moment for numerous months. Lower denomination dinar notes, in particular, have reportedly already been distributed to select test regions to rigorously test new banking equipment and modern ATMs. This specific local distribution is part of a much larger strategic push to ensure that both old and new currency forms can operate completely seamlessly once the change is public. Meanwhile, key Iraqi banks are meticulously coordinating with all global partners to efficiently handle cross-border settlements in dinar, a critically essential step in fully achieving real, definitive international currency recognition. All of these coordinated signs unequivocally point to a financial system that is now completely ready for operational deployment, far beyond a mere theoretical plan. The confirmed contract rates represent the absolute heart of this pivotal update. These rates are specifically tiered special exchange rates reserved for distinct categories of verified holders, ranging from Tier 1, which includes all international organizations and governments, down to Tier 4B, which covers regular, verified private holders. These specialized rates allow all those pre-approved individuals in the various categories to successfully exchange currency at a significantly higher value initially. Seeing these specific rates live within major banking systems signifies that the very final, critical stage of the full rollout has officially commenced. Historically, once contract rates successfully go live, public exchange rates typically follow within a short period of sometimes hours, sometimes a couple of days, and depending on official notifications from the involved banking institutions and the system capacity. This is exactly the reason why tonight's comprehensive updates are generating such massive excitement and unified hope among all long-term dinar holders. The internal chatter across global financial circles is absolutely undeniable. Across banking forums, private chat groups, and internal communication channels, verified sources are consistently confirming that the major system updates observed tonight were definitively not speculative. Actual, verifiable numbers were showing in internal banking screens, and these were explicitly not static placeholders. They were confirmed to be live, fluctuating values. This technical observation immediately indicates that the Iraqi dinar is now being actively and formally integrated into the established international banking systems. The strategic significance of this technical step simply cannot be overstated. When a national currency successfully reaches this advanced stage, it powerfully signals that the country is not only fully ready to handle the new exchange rates domestically but is also proactively preparing for definitive recognition on a broad global scale. The implications of this are profoundly clear inside Iraq. Officials have consistently reiterated their long-term goal of restoring the dinar's full global credibility and financial power. The central bank has meticulously coordinated with all international and local banks to recalibrate all essential systems, distribute all new notes, and ensure that the entire banking infrastructure is fully prepared for a major currency update. The entire financial ecosystem within Iraq is now officially synced with international systems. This profound achievement is much more than just a technical currency exchange. It is fundamentally about actively rebuilding trust and laying the crucial foundation for long-term national economic stability. Every ATM, every forex partner, and every bank branch is reportedly now fully prepared for the upcoming exchanges. Another key factor strongly driving this major move is Iraq's sustained, strategic plan to significantly reduce its dependency on the US dollar. Government contracts, alongside numerous key trade agreements, are increasingly being denominated solely in dinar, and aggressive efforts are underway to actively encourage local markets to rapidly adopt the national currency for all transactions. This crucial, self-reliant strategy reflects a much broader economic vision, to significantly strengthen Iraq's independence in financial management and global trade. As the contract rates officially go live, it powerfully signals that the country is fully ready to internationally implement these plans, aligning all domestic reforms with necessary international expectations. For all dinar holders, knowing precisely what to anticipate next is absolutely crucial. Once the contract rates are officially live, major banks begin actively preparing for structured, tiered notifications. Tier 4 test exchanges usually commence first, followed closely by Tier 4B notifications. This critical sequencing means that verified private holders, like many of you, will very soon receive formal instructions for redemption appointments, which will include necessary identification requirements, specific exchange rates, and designated appointment times. Public exchange rates will then officially appear on all currency and forex platforms once all internal processes are fully completed. This structured sequence ensures a controlled and safe rollout, actively preventing market chaos and ensuring that the entire process is both secure and orderly. It is extremely important to emphasize careful planning and patience throughout this crucial stage.